Welcome back. Brian Calfano along with Amy Blansett and Nick Reed, our Ozarks First contributors. You're over on 104.1 KSGF. You are the head of the Drew Lewis Foundation and over at Missouri State. And as such, both of you are opinion leaders in the community. And maybe you have a take on how responsible or irresponsible the hype, helped in some part by media, has been regarding the coronavirus, which has sickened, what, over 1,000 people in the U.S.?
Number growing every day.
Number growing every day, but there's
Probably
320
yeah,
million
as I say,
people.
it's more now. As soon as you say a number, it's already growing.
Well, and even, and this is, I know, just run out of the gate, or right out of the gate here running, but one of the aspects of this that I think we do know is that there are people that, especially, interestingly enough, kids, that sometimes get it and they don't even really have symptoms.
Right, they're asymptomatic. All right, so are we making too much of this, and are we stirring the pot to get people too worried? They're buying toilet paper, and I can't find any of my disinfecting wipes that I was a heavy user to begin with, and now I can't find any because everyone's now using them. So what is
Apparently
the deal?
Hand washing is now like a popular thing to do. I don't know if you're doing it, but today we're hand washing.
It'll go away. Well, is this a media-driven phenomenon, though? When you look at the numbers and the percentage of Americans, not that it's not serious, and we feel badly for those who are very ill or who have died as a result, but come on, the percentage, really. It is such a small percentage of Americans right now affected by this. Even if you are affected by it, what, 80-some% of the cases are mild or asymptomatic? Maybe 4 or 5% are super serious. Again, don't want to discount it, but it seems like there's a huge reaction for something not so major. Maybe.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem is this idea that some have that if you point things out like you did, these facts, that you are downplaying it. Well, no, that's not downplaying it. That is being factual. You don't have to emotionally overblow things in order for people to, I think because there is a serious nature to it, people feel like you just don't understand. So I've got to talk louder about it, and I have to act more freaked out about it. And that isn't necessary. And in fact, I'd argue that it probably does more harm than good. And a great example of this is the selling out of all of the masks, to where finally the Surgeon General is like, please stop doing this. Those items are needed for specific people, not you. So what you end up happening, ironically, is because people so desperately want to stop the coronavirus, they're doing something that could perhaps make it even worse because the people need it. And so it's this inability, and some of it, I don't know if it's the belief of how the audience is going to perceive it or just the people themselves who are delivering the message. This instinct to make sure people understand this is serious by the tone of it all, and we're
catastrophizing,
right? And it's just not necessary. I love analogies, and I think about you're on an airplane and it's coming in and there's turbulence, and it's the sort of turbulence that the pilot's been through before, but it's not going to be easy, and you recognize the passengers are going to be a little uneasy about it, so you let the flight attendants know, and maybe you even have to brace for a hard landing. Well, flight attendants are trained and pilots are trained to communicate that in a very straightforward, factual manner. Because no one wins if you go around telling them just how dangerous this actually is. And some of you could die. You probably won't. But do you understand how serious this is? You could all be walking out of a cornfield here within 20 seconds on fire. That doesn't benefit anyone.
Is the problem, though, a lack of historical knowledge? I was reading something in the Smithsonian magazine about the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918. And there was an outbreak in Philadelphia that ended up killing 12,500 people just in the city of Philadelphia. 12,500. To put that in perspective, a little over 3,000 died in 9/11. Different circumstances, but that's like the last big mass casualty event in this country in terms of what we think of as a lot of people dying. This country's been through these kinds of things before, and just over the last 100 years. Is it that people just have no clue about what went on 5 minutes ago, let alone 5, 10, 15 years ago, to kind of put this in perspective, and the media doesn't help at all with this, or what?
Well, again, you think the bird flu, the SARS, we've had so many others that
Were there vaccines for those? I don't remember exactly, but I'm trying to remember. Why are we so serious about this now?
We don't remember because that was news then, and how did we treat it then? How did we do it differently?
But it wasn't that long ago, so what is going on?
So how are we forgetting it so quickly, right? There's just so much, there is so much to consume now. that there aren't these major stories that hold us, right? It's as soon as that story has a little bit of dust kicked on it, there's the next one that's up and the next one.
So
and
it is media's
so
fault.
quickly.
Well, social media too, I would say. You wonder what, if the Spanish flu, if Facebook were around during that period of time, what that would have looked like, and if 24-hour news were around, what that would have looked like, and the need to get clicks. I mean, media gets paid based on clicks. I mean, these are things that have, an impact on how you report the news. But, I do think that there is probably in reality a disproportionate reaction between those in the media, the loud people on social media as well, which are normal people, and average everyday people. I have a feeling that we are underestimating the number of Americans that are approaching this in a reasonable manner. People that they are starting to wash their hands more.
All of our viewers, Nick.
Yeah, precisely. And that's exactly who I was talking about.
Yeah, of course.
But maybe I didn't wash my hands as much as I do now, but I do it.
Well, you can't,
it's a reasonable
can't find any sanitizer.
Right. But using
soap.
But not going out and buying 20 gallons of sanitizer.
A bar of soap doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's not true. They say yes.
This is
you're
where
part of the
news
problem.
takes the wrong place.
Yeah.
Soap works. Please use soap.
20 seconds, and so
Say your ABCs.
A bar of soap, though, is just like soap. There's nothing that kills the germs on it. You're just moving things around.
There's
right?
antibacterial soap.
Well, not antibacterial soap. I'm talking about a regular bar of just smell soap or whatever.
You're going to start. This segment is going to have a lot of emails coming in.
Please use soap.
And you'll get a call from the health department wanting to come on and do a segment as a follow-up. But let me tell you this too, and I try to find some good news in this. For every one posting I see on social media where somebody's like, I got all my toilet paper, I see 20 from people saying, why is everybody buying all this toilet paper?
There's some amazing memes right now.
Yeah. So the point being is, I think probably actually a majority of Americans are dealing with this in a rational and mature manner. It's just they're not the ones that get the attention.
Students are on spring break. I mean, all is normal, right?
And we
can't wait till that all comes back.
Wash up, folks.
Wash your hands.
Amy Blanchett and Nick
your
Reed.
hands.
Thanks for your perspectives, everybody. We'll be back after this.